everybody. Welcome back to another review. Today, we're going to be talking about a movie called Together. First of all, I'm very sorry for putting this review out late. I didn't get to see it until right before I went back to work. And because the previous weekend, I was up at GalaxyCon doing all that. So I was tied up with that for the entire weekend. So I literally saw this the next day that I got back. I just did not have the time to get to it, unfortunately. I had to go back to work the next day, but sorry. But I'm back now, and so let's get into this. This is a movie that's directed by Michael Shanks. Now, I know this movie had a bunch of controversy a couple weeks before it came out because of apparently there was another either I can't remember if it was a writer and director, if it was two directors that apparently saw this movie and thought, "Oh my God, they literally plagiarized our movie." And their movie was kind of the same concept, but it was more of a comedy. But I think Michael came out and said that this movie was actually wrote 2 or 3 years ago prior to their movie. So it might be one of those things that was just a huge coincidence. I know some people have taken that whole thing of it's that this movie was ripped off and ran with it, and we just don't know. As from what I've seen, the director of this movie has been like, no, that's not the case at all. This is why it made a whole case for it and stuff like that. So I've kind of set that stuff aside. Like, I was kind of bummed when I first saw it because I was like, shit. I was like, well, there goes that. But thankfully, like I said, the director has come out and made his own claims against it and fought it and stuff, and tried to prove that he did not rip this movie off in any way, shape, or form. And so, yeah, I've kind of just put that to the side, and I went into this movie. I was like, good, now I can go enjoy this movie. Again, this is one of those movies that I think it was at Fantastic Fest or South by Southwest that premiered, and people got to see it early and hyped it up and said it was so good, and and all that good stuff. So I was like, oh yeah, awesome. Now I gotta wait 4 or 5 months before I can watch it. Yay! This movie essentially follows James Franco and Alison Brie, who play a couple, which they are a couple in real life. So, of course, they have great chemistry together. Essentially, this movie is about them moving to a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere and discovering something while they're there, and it kind of leads to the events of this movie where shit just goes south. This was a movie that I avoided everything for. Everything that I could, I avoided it. Because mainly, as much as I love Neon, I think Neon is so good, and I just don't understand their thing lately. Like, it's just so weird how Longlegs, for example, was such a fantastic marketing campaign. It was so cryptic and so just perfect teasers that even the trailer, you didn't know anything about the movie. And then since then, they did it with Cuckoo, where I was told to avoid the Cuckoo trailer because it showed everything. So I avoided that. And when it came to Together, I saw the very first little teaser thing that they put out where there's no dialogue in the trailer at all. It's just teeny, quick little shots of something, and that was it. So I was like, cool, maybe they're going back to that, thing that they did with Longlegs, how they were going to go that route again. And then when the full trailer came out, people who had already seen the movie at film festivals were essentially like, don't watch this trailer. It gives everything away. It gives certain things, certain scares, and I was like, fuck. So yet again, I avoided the trailer. And again, I stand by, if you're one of those people that is able to avoid the trailer, it makes your experience so much better, because while I went into this knowing kind of sort of where the movie was going to go based just on the name, I did not know how it was going to play out at all. So it makes your viewing experience so much more rewarding. One of the things I really liked about this movie was that there is this unsettling feeling throughout the entire movie. I mean, the way it starts, it kind of puts you in this mindset of what, because of what happens, it puts you in this mindset of unease. As it is, even when you transfer over to Dave Franco and Alison Brie, that you still have this sense of unease about it. You don't know why, but you just don't feel 100% comfortable, and that could be because of the mindset that you were just put in the previous scene, but it carries that all throughout the movie. But it does a great job of setting it up to where you're not comfortable throughout the entire thing. You're just kind of there watching it, but you feel like you're watching something you're not supposed to be watching, especially when it comes to their relationship, because it just feels something is very out of place and something's just not right. And this movie has this theme of codependency all throughout it, and I don't think it's really like one of those meanings that you really got to dive deep into to find it. It's kind of just there, and it's there on the surface level, and I think it would be hard, even if you went into this movie not knowing that, it would still be hard not to pick up on that. So that's there, and that's kind of the theme that it's going for. And with that, it kind of has this thing to where if you know that, it kind of adds to certain stuff that happens later. And it's one of those movies as well to where there's certain stuff that happens throughout the movie. Like, it could be something at the beginning that is either said or shown, or a story that someone's talking about that you have to pay attention to, because it will come back in the story later on and service that. It might not say exactly that, oh, it's a callback reference to that. It's just one of the things you have to pick up on and kind of put two and two together. And I really love movies like that, but it does that a couple times throughout this movie. I will say that this is the first movie that I watched in a long while that has genuinely creeped me out. Now, this is post me seeing Weapons and Strange Harvest, so obviously I saw this movie first. I'm just late to the game on reviewing it. But when I was sitting in the theater, there's certain scenes that really fucking scared me, where I was just like, dude, it's just the imagery and the way that it's played out is effectively creepy. Like, there's one part in particular near the beginning, not the very beginning, but it's in the beginning of the movie, and it was terrifying. I don't want to give anything away, but that shit right there was just pure nightmare fuel. And there's a couple more of those scenes as the movie goes on, and it does such a good job of being so creepy and effective that every single time it got dark outside, it was one of those movies where I went, oh, fuck, not again. Because you have to sit there and be like, oh, I have to go through this feeling again. So I give it props for that, because it's been a while since a movie has done that for me, because I'm kind of just numb to everything. I've seen so much stuff that I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's whatever. It is what it is. But this one, genuinely, there was parts throughout it that creeped me the hell out. I think Alison Brie and Dave Franco do such a good job at playing this married couple, which hopefully they should, since they are married in real life. But they do such a great job of playing this couple that is strained. You can tell something's not right in the relationship, and you kind of want to know why. And it goes back to one of those things I said earlier about how certain stuff is told in the beginning, and with certain stories and stuff that's said that kind of plays out later on. And it's one of those things you kind of got to pay attention to, because it will come full circle with that. Because there's certain parts of the movie to where once something of that, something happens, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's because of what he said at the beginning, or she said, or that's the story he was mentioning about. That's why he's able to do that, or he's able to catch that, smell or something like that. I think all of that also, like I said before, adds to that uneasiness you feel throughout the whole movie. Because like I said, as soon as their characters are introduced, you're kind of just like, something, I don't know, man, something, I just don't want to be here. I don't feel right watching this. And I want to talk about what type of horror movie this is, but I don't really want to give anything away. You can kind of put two and two together, if you will, about, if you just see the title of the movie, you can kind of guess where it's going. But it does such a good job in this genre of horror that it's going for, that it's very much just as effective. And it's more that I want to talk about, but I can't without giving anything away. And there's one scene in particular in a bathroom that when a certain thing happens, you're just kind of like, ugh, like you're just like, oh my God, no. So there's a couple parts of that throughout this entire movie that make you feel that way, that give you like where you just want to squirm in your seat, and you're like, ugh. But it that just shows how effective It really is, because it very much is really effective in how it does it. It pulls it off so well, between the sound effects and the visuals and how they go about certain things. Yeah, they do it very well. They do it in the same vein as that good grotesque nature as other movies of this genre, and I think it's able to fit right in with those movies, and it doesn't really miss a beat. But I really had a good time with this movie overall. I think it's really good, really creepy, very effective in what it is going for. It's one of those, like I said before, a movie that has something to say about certain stuff when it comes to relationships, codependency, and all that. But it does it in a way that if you want to ignore it, you can ignore it and just watch the movie as what it is, or you can really dive deep into it. And this is also one of those movies that I believe that you can get more out of it if you rewatch it again. I think you'll be able to pick more stuff up, because there will be certain clues. I'm sure there's even clues that I missed that I would really very much like to go back and see if I can pick up on them. And again, I love movies like that. It adds to the rewatch, and not only that, but it adds to this more of a better of experience the more times you watch it. And it's one of those movies that if you watch with a group of friends, everybody could come out with something different. They could be like, oh, they picked up on this, they got this out of it, they put this together with this, so that has to mean this. And it's one of those movies that just has all these multiple meanings. It's just one of those multi-layered movies, and it's just something I really enjoy. So I would recommend going and checking this one out. Just if you're kind of squeamish about certain things, kind of know who you are going into it, but I would highly recommend it. I know the ending has seemed to be pretty split and divided among people who have seen it. A lot of people, they really enjoyed it, and a lot of people thought that it just did not work for them at all, and it's kind of just like, yeah. Didn't bother me. I kind of knew where they were going with it. I'm not saying that people that didn't like it didn't get it or anything like that. I'm just saying it worked for me because I but if it didn't work for you, that's totally cool. I understand why, and I don't know. It didn't bother me in any way. I just kind of saw what they were going for and all that, and I was kind of like, okay, because it kind of leaves you on this note of, you're like, well, that's interesting. This seems to be a genre of horror that is slowly making a comeback in a way, because we had a movie like this last year, and I don't want to give away what the movie was because everybody and the brother will know exactly what I'm talking about, know what kind of movie this will be, and I really don't want to give that away in case nobody has seen anything about it. But that's something I've always loved in horror movies, where they're able to tackle certain topics and put this horror twist on it in a way that, no other movie or genre can kind of, hit that way. Maybe other than comedy. Comedy is very good at doing that as well, if the comedy's done correctly. But that's just something I've always loved about horror movies, and that's what I love about this movie, how it tackles certain stuff in relationships and things like that. I just think it was really well done. I haven't seen the other movie that supposedly that it got ripped off from or whatever, anything like that. And I hope that's not the case, because like I said, I know that the director and stuff has come out and said that no, and here's my proof and all that good stuff. So hope that's not the case, but I highly recommend going to see this movie. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, just know who you are going in when it comes to certain stuff. If certain things are kind of like if you're squeamish towards certain things, I would kind of maybe look into it a little bit just to see if it'll be for you. But I recommend going to see it. It's totally worth your time, and it's just a fun time. And if you want to be completely unnerved and creeped out at certain parts of it, because like I said, that don't happen to me a lot anymore, and that I was like, very, very much creeped out. But thank you so much, everybody. This has been my review for Together. If you've seen the movie, please comment below and let me know what you thought about it. If you haven't yet, if this is the video you found me on, please come on over to my channel and check out all my other 2025 reviews that I've done so far. And as always, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That way I can see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much.